Oh my God, you guys, two people actually communicated in their dreams for the first times with each other in a scientific study. But this means so much more than you get. I'm about to make a crazy neurodivergent connection between what these guys did in their dream, harnessing the fourth state of matter plasma for magic, why this was already happening in ancient mythology, what it has to do with the Taurus, a beetle, an ant, and the divine feminine goddesses. And last but not least, our sense of smell. Get ready for a neurodivergent, neurospicy deep dive. This is going to blow your mind. Okay, so for the first time, two people have successfully communicated in their dreams. But the real question is, where are they communicating? Basically, just long story short, these individuals lucid dreamed. They exchanged a simple message within the dream, and they had equipment plugged into them, and this company documented it. They go on to talk about how it's going to revolutionize the industry, what we can do for dreams. And this is very exciting. But I mean, most of y'all watching, us spiritual, metaphysical people, like we know this, right? But I'm about to tell you not only where these people go to communicate in this dream world, but how you can harness this substance and prove kind of how the ancients did and how we can bring this into real life because we are in another dream world. Okay. Stay with me, please keep an open mind. So in history, we have many of these gods and goddesses that are horn figures. And we see that they have the sun in between the horns. This is interesting for so many. I hope I can make these connections good so it makes sense. There again, you see this is Hathor for one example. Once again. Okay, what I'm about to show you, you cannot unsee. So what does this symbol mean? I think I have an answer. And don't worry, I'll connect this back to dreams. So here we also have the Egyptian scarab beetle with the same kind of antenna. Here we have it again, literally connecting with the sun. And guess what the sun is made out of? It's made out of plasma. These people are communicating with plasma. And I'm going to prove to you what I think is proof. How plasma and ether are the same thing. And that is what makes up the dream world and how we can communicate with it. That's what these people were doing. Yes, ether and plasma is the same thing. I will explain. Once again, similar thing. Oh, and this also looks like an apple or a Taurus or an owl. It all connects. We have the Zoroastrian symbol. Same thing with the sun and a person and the wings and maybe little antennas. And then we have more symbolism of the owl and the Taurus, which I'll get to. But also this is literally looks like a sun rising, like the horizon or the power of plasma or the sun. So this all started one day when I honestly got like a spiritual download and I was told that ants hold the key to interdimensional communication and we are like ant antennas. Go watch my video on that. But basically what I derive from it is these ant antennas, these are what is showing in the ancient mythology. This is what it meant. And guess what they do with these antennas? They smell. They use their olfactory senses to communicate and send out signals. So they get signals in and send them out by smell. What does this have to do with us? I think that these ancient figures were using their sense of smell to connect with this plasma, their olfactory senses. So ants, also beetles, some types of butterflies. This is why they're all, and bees. This is why they're all symbols. Back in the day, they aren't just random. They all have these olfactory receptors that sense with their smell. I'm having deja vu right now. That's crazy. They use it to recognize colony members. They use it for protection, communication, so on and so forth. This is what we're going to learn as humans. Something very interesting, and this is why I read all of my comments, one of you told me, was that the sense of smell is the only smell that is basically not corrupted by a bunch of filters in humans. So basically, by smelling, we're almost getting an unfiltered view of reality, like the truth. Like we're gonna sense this field around us, this ether, this plasma. And I know what space plasma is. This is a special type of plasma, which I'll talk about, which I'm working on a theory for. So unlike most sensory modalities, afferents from the olfactory system, smelling, bypass the first order of the thalamus, directly target the cortex, whatever the heck. Listen. Basically, all you have to know is the sense of smell is unique because it bypasses the thalamus, which acts as the gatekeeper for other sensory systems. This allows odors to directly influence the limbic system, which can impact emotions, memories, and behavior. A lot of, even looking at psychology, I don't have time to get into it all, but sense of smell is so important. And I think we have been sleeping on the sense of smell. And hopefully now that you see it, you can't unsee it. That the sense of smell, hopefully this opens up a totally new idea about what these ancient drawings were about. There are also, someone else in the comments wrote about Native American art and ancient art that had to do with almost like antennas. Also looked a little bit like aliens. Here's another one. Also with smell, the Bible definitely has, I'm not religious, but the Bible has a lot of hints about smell. They talked about God having a certain smell of sweetness. And then there also are talks about sulfur associated with divine wrath, punishment, other things like that. Specifically the scarab beetle, which has to do with the plasma symbolism in the Taurus. I don't know if you kind of see the Taurus in this, but I do. It also has very enhanced smell abilities. Okay, let's go back to the dream world and connect this all for you. How we're gonna smell the dream world in real life. So to summarize, I feel like these were symbols basically telling us use our antenna or our sense of smell, just one of many. And this might be a direct way to sense this dream world, this field around us, which is really also our reality. Basically bringing together heaven and earth, the angel realm, the wings, and the body. Cool, right? Okay, so back in the Aboriginal days, somewhere out in Australia, or off the coast as well, there was something called the everyone. They also called it the dreaming. And if you do see the symbolism, maybe you see the antennas and the very interesting similar things. There we are. Basically, everyone was inhabited by ancestral figures. They had supernatural abilities. I think what they were talking about was the plasma field, was the Akashic realm, was where we're communicating in lucid dreams. But back in the day, that almost bled into reality, which I think is starting to happen now. So it was all connected because there wasn't technology. Also called the Akashic realm. Basically, the Akashic records are where memories, dreams, or reflections are, like Carl Jung says. It is the realm of imagination, the realm of dreams, the plasma field, the ether. Here's where we connect the ether. The Akashic realm actually means ether. Akashic, ether. So hopefully now I'm starting to make the connection between this dream world that we're gonna smell, y'all, and why it's made of plasma or ether. And now I'm gonna connect plasma and ether because I know some of you were like, they're not the same thing. And this is just my opinion, but you'll feel it if it's true in your heart and soul. So ether was also called quintessence. This was a very interesting symbol for it. I'm sorry, this is the symbol it got cut off. Might be able to make some connections here. It also looks a little bit like UFOs. They also called it the fifth element. Tesla also worked with it. He called it radiant energy. Plasma balls are an example. This literally will connect radiant energy and plasma for you. Same thing as ether. Once again, him working with plasmas, Tesla and plasma. So really quick before I get into why ether is plasma, this is plasma in a tokamak. Looks like an owl. Looks like an ant with horns. Oh, here's the owl. And here's something I made up, which is a plasma owl. Bam. It's an owl. Oh, in this shape, it's called a Taurus. And guess what? A Taurus, a bull. Oh, and what's that symbol? Oh, interesting. What does this remind you of, everyone? Okay. So this is the first time I'm talking about my theory in detail. You could sign up for the link in my Stan store if you want my book that's going to be all about this. I'm writing it right now. So basically, plasma as ether. My theory is that plasma holds consciousness. It is the vehicle for consciousness. I basically plugged what I wanted AI to say, just so you know, and it helped me kind of understand what I needed to do to prove this theory. So I'm basically proposing that the universe is a conscious plasma. It holds consciousness, but it is an organic sentience. Plasma is an organic sentience separate from consciousness, but it holds consciousness. So one might propose a special form of plasma exists, which permeates space and also acts as a conduit for consciousness. This would serve as a living ether, not just transmitting light and energy, but also enabling the manifestation of consciousness and playing a role in the organization of life. It would serve as a medium for light, just as the ether was proposed to do. Very similar to the prana and ether and chi concepts. So the plasma field holds electromagnetic waves, and that is what lets light propagate, which they used to say ether did, but they didn't see a need for ether and just threw it out and then came up with plasma 20 years later. But it is literally the same thing, and inside of plasma is the electromagnetic field. Picture plasma as the bigger field around that. I'm simply mixing together the idea of luminiferous ether and plasma and the anima, which basically is what animates all of life. and suggesting it is all around us, within us, and without us, like a god, like a female god, the divine feminine plasma god. And there's conscious beings you could smell inside of it.